Hey, this is Notser, and this is a video that's going to be discussing Graf Zeppelin, wargaming, IChase, everything that's occurred since my initial video. But before we do that, Hurricane Harvey made landfall near Corpus Christi, and it was a Category 4 when it made landfall. It's now a tropical storm, and it's dumping a ton of water. Flooding is going to be an issue. San Antonio, Austin, Houston, Corpus Christi, and everything in between. Tons and tons of water. I'm safe, my family's safe. We are in a very safe area of Houston. We're not going to flood. It's not going to be an issue like most of Houston. Most of Houston is probably going to deal with a hell of a lot of flood. And this is very similar to a hurricane that turned into a tropical storm. Or I don't even know if it ever became a hurricane, but there was a hurricane or a tropical storm in the 90s where it just dumped a ton of water, tons of flooding. It was a disaster, just awful. I'm hoping everything will work out, but I'm fine, power's still here, and don't worry, you don't have to replace me just yet, unless of course you want to. I will still be here making content. That's the plan. So, Graf Zeppelin. I put out my video, very critical of the state that Graf Zeppelin was in. It was not ready for release, and it was certainly not ready to ask money for purchase. And I wanted everyone to know that, and I didn't want my viewers to be baited into buying this. I identified Gamescom as a possible culprit, and absolutely it ended up being, but I did, however, place blame on the incorrect target. Wargaming EU marketing department was not operating on its own. Now, why would I think Wargaming EU marketing was deciding to sell this, but other regions weren't? Well, I had just talked to my NA rep. Hey, there's a couple changes coming to the Graf Zeppelin. Can you give us good feedback? That usually means we want you to test it very recent, like go test it right now and let us know what you think of the changes. And I'm like, yeah, sure, man. I obviously have a lot of respect for my Wargaming rep. He never steers me wrong. I really appreciate all his information, but I assumed that clearly NA has some sort of different view on the ship than the EU marketing department, and that's where that came from. I was like, well, my NA guys are like, let us know what the feedback, That would tell me that the ship is not ready for release, but clearly the EU store suggested it was, so apologies to the Wargaming EU marketing department. I didn't realize it was actually coming to all of them. Based on my initial communication, I was like, oh, what's going on? So the video came out hugely successful from my point of view because people listened to what I had to say. And I appreciate everyone, hey, thank you. We really appreciate you being honest. I'm sure Wargaming would have preferred me not to name it Don't Buy the Graf Zeppelin. But I was mad. I was mad that they were going to bait viewers into buying it, and I was going to be contributing to this based on my old video. My old video showed a 2-fighter, 3-torpedo setup, which is really good compared to the 2-fighter, 3-dive bomber setup. Probably too good. So that's where I was angry. The German destroyers did the exact same thing. They sort of baited you guys into believing that, oh man, hydroacoustic, way good, They clearly changed the ships before release. They also had a crazy stealth firing range when I tested them. So I was just mad about that. I don't want that to happen again. And in response to some of you saying, delete the video, delete the video, delete the video, that really screws with your attachment rate on YouTube. I mean, it quite literally is probably the worst thing you could do is delete a video off of YouTube. YouTube creates a portfolio, and it's sort of attaching people's interests to this creator. And that's what displays recommended videos that you might want to watch. I really, all YouTubers really work very hard to grow their business. You have to have about 3 videos per week, and you have to be very consistent with your content for YouTube to say, this is a guy that we really want to prop up and support. And I just can't go deleting videos willy-nilly. YouTube's algorithm is just wrecked if you are one of those people that just deletes videos left and right. You just don't want to do that. So renaming it is the better solution. That's what we did. hopefully that works out. A little time passes. I know Wargaming watched it because they told me so, and they had some feedback for the video. They didn't want to remove it. They definitely defended my right to share my opinion on it. And then IChase makes his video. And IChase's video is a little bit further. I was wanting to talk to the employees that were responsible. He wanted them fired. And maybe that was a little too much. And IChase gets removed for that. And he doesn't get any, oh, hey, can we talk to you about this? You know, what's your feelings? Exactly. No. It's like, IChase, you're gone for these comments that you made. And we're all like, whoa, wow, that was really abrupt. It's scary. It's scary, that jump. Like, some CCs are immune. They can screw up 100 times, but they make so much money for wargaming, they have a direct line to wargaming. And then other CCs just immediately booted. And I don't think that's fair. I think that's clearly showing favoritism. And I think wargaming eventually, through this whole process, recognized that, you know what, that was a little unfair of us to do that. We should have talked to you first before we just pulled the trigger. And, you know, all the NA guys are really sad. Wargaming NA CCs are pretty close. We're pretty tight. I talk to them every day. Literally every day. We make a ton of jokes, you know. It's a family. So, yeah, I mean, it sucks. It sucks to see a friend get removed and to not really be given a chance to defend himself or to talk about it. No. We have to remove you immediately. Send a message. And then Wargaming doubles down. They say, even though the ship isn't ready, we feel it's good enough, basically. You just have to play better. And then CV players get into it. They're like, excuse me? We're one of the best players in our class, and we still suck with this ship because the ship sucks, you know? And I have a lot of respect for those CVs that came out and said, because I don't have the skill to be like, oh yeah, I should never be bad. I should never be this bad. It's clearly the ship, and here's why, you know, objectively telling exactly what's going on. I could probably do it with the DD, but certainly not the aircraft carriers. So that statement was really weird, right? Get good. We feel like it's okay enough. There will be something in the future. Well, that's the very definition of unfinished. And I think a lot of people called them out on that. And overnight, they had a conversation, a meeting. They apologized to IChase. They're going to offer a full refund if you want for the Graf Zeppelin. It is no longer in the store, and anyone who keeps it will be able to provide feedback as they try and improve it and make it something that's worth a purchase. They will be making a unique camo for these people who purchased it early and will keep it throughout, which is great. I'm glad they finally got to the right solution. Took a little while, but hey, they got there. Man, the whole event that was kind of stressful because I was absolutely hearing that my video was being reviewed, and, you know, IChase, we clearly saw what happened to IChase when they reviewed his video. So you're sitting there going, is this it? Is this the end of the line for me? Do I have to recreate my brand from scratch? And it just keeps reinforcing. I cannot rely on one company, not game, one company for revenue. I love making content for World of Warships. I feel like the community is better because of the content that not only I make, but a lot of people make. But I just can't do that to myself. I can't do that to my family. It has to be more companies. So I'm looking at games to add to the content I release. My idea is always to teach, always to show people just techniques that they could use in their own games and make them a better player. That's the whole goal, and enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoyed my frustration trying to complete the 5-kill battleship requirement. That was very fun to experience. In the aftermath, the stream was hilarious. I mean, you guys really made it worthwhile, even though I was very frustrated. Just seeing that you enjoyed it made it way worth it. Now, on top of that joy, I just can't get away from the feeling that I can't rely on a company or a game for my primary source of income. I have to diversify. I have to. I can't. Even if, 80% of my viewers are like, I don't want to watch this, I can't rely on one company. I can't. There's just too much at stake. So I've been considering something like Dreadnought. World of Tanks is the same company. There's a lot of people who do great World of Tanks content. War Thunder, very grindy games. I'm going to be completely honest. There's an element that I really want to do a Blizzard game, but Blizzard games are always overpopulated. I really enjoy Blizzard games, but how can I compete with people who live, 10 minutes away from Blizzard? I would have to take a flight if I ever got invited to go. There's just so many things that you have to overcome, right? I love history, and I love great games. Those are the two things. It's a great story. There's also an element of me that feels like, you know what? PC gaming is sort of being ignored. All these PC gaming centered channels that really reviewed the PC game experience, they're sort of moving on to indies and small games that no one would ever know about. And I'm like, that's cool, but if you all do it, then how are we going to know if it's worth our purchase to get this AAA game or even do this high-profile free-to-play game? I really feel like there's just not enough people covering brand new releases of games in an effective format. Everyone's gone to, I want to watch them play the game on Twitch. Well, that's great, but couldn't you just turn that into a video on YouTube as well? Wouldn't that be a useful way of people to access this for the future? Am I the only one who feels like a lot of the people who got their start covering PC games and really getting into the nitty-gritty of whether you should buy it or not, is it up to par on a PC platform, they've really just moved on, and they've gone so far over to this like, oh my, if you're not playing an indie game, you're way too mainstream for me. And it's like, but maybe I like Total War 2 Warhammer. Maybe I like free-to-play games like World of Warships or World of Warcraft. What's wrong with talking about either a new patch or a brand new game, an expansion pack? I don't get it. Maybe I'm just reading it wrong, but it just seems like there is a massive gap where people who want to inform you about all these new releases they're just moving away from it. They just don't want to do it. Maybe it's too much work. Maybe they spend too much money on the initial upfront cost. Maybe they go too far. I don't know what the reason is, but yeah, it just feels weird. It feels weird when a lot of high-profile video games are just covered on a streaming service, and you really don't go to a person for the super knowledge of this game is going to be great, because those people have just moved on. They just don't cover the game the same way anymore. They do maybe 10 or 15 games a year, if that, and they're happy with it. They don't have to, talk about it in great detail. They don't have to buy the game. They don't have to do any of that. And it's just, I feel like there's a gap there that didn't exist previously for whatever weird reason. So there's a lot of things on my plate that I want to consider. I absolutely want to consider it. But yeah, you're the ultimate decider. A collective will have a better understanding of what people want to see, because you all guys are the ones watching this content, than one person. Do you want me to specialize on another game and have like 2 games really highly specialized, me describing in extreme detail how to succeed at the game? Or do you want me to just add a game here and there that we talk about, single player, multiplayer, and that's a new release? I don't know. I'm gonna try and keep exploring. I just haven't found that game that has the potential to succeed quite as high as World of Warships, since World of Warships for me. You know, Overwatch is fantastic. And maybe I kind of undervalued Overwatch. But there's also a hell of a lot of people who make content for Overwatch, and I don't know that there's enough justification for making that content for Overwatch, you know. It doesn't change quite that often. They're not actively adding, they may add a character once every 3 to 4 months, maybe 6 months. This adds 10 or 15 ships every 3 months. You know, that's a lot more content. So I appreciate all you sticking around. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.